Cop insults black woman at airport, regrets it when her father, the airline owner, arrives. The airport was a cacophony of rolling suitcases, garbled announcements, and hurried footsteps. At gate 12, Amara Johnson stood clutching her boarding pass, her heart pounding as Officer Daniel Hargrove loomed over her. His voice, sharp and venomous, sliced through the din. "You don't belong in first class. Step out of line now." His words weren't just a command, they were a blade, dipped in the poison of assumption. Amara, a 32-year-old marketing executive, felt the sting of every eye in the terminal turning toward her. Her dark skin, her neatly braided hair, her tailored blazer somehow, to this man, they screamed outsider. Amara's voice trembled but held firm. "I have a ticket. I'm not moving." Her eyes locked onto Hargrove's, searching for a shred of reason. There was none. His lip curled, and he spat. "People like you always think you can sneak your way in." The word people landed like a slap, heavy with unspoken prejudice. The crowd around them shifted uncomfortably, some murmuring, others looking away. Amara's chest tightened, not from fear but from the weight of a lifetime of moments like this, moments where her existence was questioned, her worth diminished. Hargrove stepped closer, his hand brushing the holster at his hip. "I'm not asking again. Move or I'll make you." The threat hung in the air, electric and suffocating. Amara's mind raced. She could comply, step aside, and let this man's ignorance win. Or she could stand her ground, knowing the cost might be higher than she could bear. Her fingers tightened around her phone, tempted to record, to expose, but the fear of escalation stopped her. "Not here. Not now." A voice broke the tension, soft but piercing. "Is there a problem, officer?" It was an older woman, maybe 60, with silver hair and a worn leather jacket, pushing a cleaning cart. Her name tag read, Evelyn. She stood a few feet away, her eyes sharp and unafraid, cutting through the haze of Hargrove's authority. He barely glanced at her. "Stay out of this, lady. This doesn't concern you." Evelyn didn't flinch. "Looks like it concerns everyone here." Her words were calm, but they carried a weight that made Hargrove pause. The crowd grew quieter, sensing a shift. Amara felt a flicker of hope, a lifeline in this stranger's courage. But Hargrove's face hardened. "Back off or you're next," he snapped, his voice louder now, drawing more eyes. Amara's heart sank. She knew the script: escalation, blame, and no justice. But then, a new sound cut through the terminal. The sharp clack of polished shoes on tile. A man approached, tall and commanding, his gray suit immaculate, his presence parting the crowd like a wave. His dark skin mirrored Amara's, and his eyes, filled with quiet fury, locked onto Hargrove. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice low but resonant, like thunder rolling in the distance. Hargrove straightened, sensing authority but not yet yielding. "Sir, this woman's causing a disturbance. She's refusing to comply." The man's gaze shifted to Amara, softening for a moment before returning to Hargrove. "That woman," he said, each word deliberate, "is my daughter, and I'm Charles Johnson, owner of Horizon Airlines." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Hargrove's face paled, his bravado crumbling like dry clay. The air seemed to shift, the power dynamic flipping in an instant. Charles stepped closer, his voice steady but laced with restrained anger. "You judged her based on nothing but your own bias. You saw her skin and decided she didn't belong. Explain yourself." Hargrove stammered, his earlier confidence evaporating. "Two was just doing my job, sir. Checking tickets, maintaining order." His words sounded hollow even to himself. The crowd was no longer a passive backdrop. They were witnesses, their phones now out, recording the unraveling of a man who moments ago wielded unchecked power. Amara, still shaken, found her voice. "Dad, he called me people like you. He assumed I stole my ticket." Her words were raw, the pain of 1,000 small cuts spilling out. Charles's jaw tightened, but his hand on her shoulder was gentle, grounding. Evelyn, the cleaner, spoke again, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "I've seen this too many times. Folks like him pick who belongs and who doesn't. It's not just one bad day, it's a system." Her words landed like a stone in still water, rippling through the crowd. Hargrove's eyes darted to her, but he had no retort. Evelyn wasn't just a bystander. She was a retired civil rights lawyer, her card a cover for a woman who'd spent decades fighting battles like this. Her unexpected presence turned the moment into something bigger, a reckoning. Charles turned to Hargrove. "You're done here. Security will escort you out, and we'll be reviewing your conduct with the department." He gestured to 2 airport guards who'd appeared, their faces grim. Hargrove's shoulders slumped, his authority stripped away. As he was led off, the crowd erupted in whispers, some cheering softly for Amara. But the story didn't end there. Amara, still clutching her boarding pass, looked at her father. "I didn't want it to end like this," she said quietly. "I just wanted to board my flight." Charles nodded, his eyes heavy with understanding. "I know, sweetheart, but sometimes standing up means showing the world what's wrong." Evelyn approached, her cart now still. "You're stronger than you know," she told Amara. "And you," she said to Charles, "raised a fighter." She handed Amara a small card with her name and number. "If you ever need to talk or fight, call me." Amara smiled, a flicker of warmth breaking through the weight of the moment. As Amara finally boarded her flight, the terminal buzzed with the story of what had happened. Some passengers shook their heads, others nodded in solidarity. The handwritten sign on the lost and found board, unnoticed by most, bore witness. "Racial clash at Gate 12, truth unveils power." The incident wasn't just a clash. It was a mirror held up to a world still grappling with prejudice. Amara's stand, bolstered by her father's power and Evelyn's quiet defiance, wasn't just a victory, it was a call to question. Who gets to decide who belongs? Who gets to wield power without accountability? The answers weren't simple, but they were worth seeking. As Amara settled into her seat, she looked out the window, the runway stretching into the distance. She thought of Evelyn, a stranger who'd changed the narrative, and her father, whose love had always been her shield. The plane began to taxi, and for the first time that day, she felt lighter, not because the fight was over, but because she wasn't fighting alone. What do you think? Where does justice begin in a moment like this? And how do we confront the biases that divide us?